This is Richard Crisanti, your executive chef at Shadowwood Country Club. Thanks for joining me for this second cooking class demo. Today we're going to be working on recipes that are healthier choices. And we have three recipes. We have a soy glazed edamame, we have a mahogany salmon, and then a sole and Puppy Oat. And the preparations we'll go through one by one, but we're going to start out with our salmon today because you need to marinate it for at least 1 hour. So we're going to make our marinade, put that there to the side, and then we'll move on to our next recipe. So salmon, we use a 60 South salmon, and it's one of our favorites, and we use that in all areas of the club. So we're going to work on this. It's a mahogany salmon, and we're going to cook it on a cedar plank. Your recipe calls for 4, but we're just going to show a demo on 1 salmon, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we have our salmon right here. We have our cedar plank that we've soaked in water and grilled it to get some flavor on it, and then we're going to go into making our marinade with our ingredients. We have brown sugar, a little bit of ginger. Now we're putting a little bit of garlic. We're going to put our fresh chopped scallions, a little bit of lime juice. You can put lemon juice if you want, but I like lime juice. Sesame oil, a little bit of balsamic vinegar, liquid smoke, which gives it a great flavor. Then we're going to take those ingredients and combine them together. Now we've placed our salmon in the marinade, and I'm going to toss it around a little bit. Make sure it's good and covered. And because this marinade is so strong, as I put in my directions, you only want to marinate it for about an hour to 4 hours. Do not do this marinade overnight. It will be too strong for your salmon. And while that's marinating, we're going to move on to our next recipe. Next recipe that we're moving on to is our soy glazed edamame. We have fresh edamame, and what we need to do is blanch the edamame in water to get them tender. We cook them about halfway, and then we're going to take them out, and then we're going to saute them in some canola oil and then add a nice sweet glaze to it. So to start out, we'll take our edamame, we're going to put it in pre-boiling water. We're going to drop those in like that. I have that there so they don't float, and then we're going to work on our glaze. So our glaze, all the ingredients you're going to mix in one bowl, and then I have a little bit of sea salt and a little bit of toasted sesame seeds that we're going to actually use for garnish at the end. So we'll start out with our garlic. We're going to put about a half a teaspoon of garlic. We're going to put some ginger and sesame oil. Then we have a little bit of soy sauce, some rice wine vinegar, and ginger again. We'll take that mixture, mix it up a little bit more, add a little bit more soy sauce. Like that, and that'll be our glaze for our edamame. We have to make sure that we're heating our pan with our canola oil and sesame oil if you like the additional sesame oil. I like sesame oil because the flavor is just really distinct, and I enjoy that. So we're going to take our edamame out now that we've blanched it. And we're going to go right to our hot pan, and it's on high heat. We want to get a nice saute to that, and then we're going to add our glaze now that it's sauteed. And you add the glaze like that, and it's not a lot, it's just enough to coat it and flavor it. And then we saute that glaze so that way the essence is added to our edamame. And you don't want to cook it too long because your ingredients will caramelize a little bit too much and it can burn because of the sugar. And that's it. And now we're going to plate it up. So I take the edamame, put it into a bowl. Any leftover glaze, pour it on top. And then we're going to garnish it with some toasted sesame seeds and a little bit of sea salt. And this is optional. And that's your final dish. And now we're moving on to our next recipe of sole and puppy oat, which is a very healthy dish that is on our menu. And we have our sole right here. Here at the club, we use couscous, and I'm gonna add this to the recipe. It's optional. This recipe does not call for it, but we have an Israeli and couscous we're gonna add to it. So we take a little bit of our couscous and add it, but let's start out with the parchment paper. We're gonna cut our parchment paper in a heart shape. And I do this on a cutting board, obviously. And then the excess parchment paper obviously is not needed. Then you have a heart shape, and then you actually fold it in half, like the recipe calls for. And then we're going to open it up, and we're going to place some of our couscous that's already been pre-cooked in the center, like so. We have our vegetable mixture, which is haricot vert green beans, carrots, scallions, some sliced garlic, and a little bit of mixed herbs. And as you can see, this dish becomes a dish where all ingredients are included. Then we have our sole that we add inside. And then our additional ingredients. We're going to add some capers, fresh dill, fresh thyme and rosemary. And these are all great aromatics. A little bit of salt and pepper. A little bit of crushed red pepper, just to give it a little spicy angle. And then we're going to put a little bit of butter. In the restaurant, we do not use butter, but if you want more flavor, obviously, butter is fat, and without fat, you'll have less flavor. Then we're going to add a little bit of olive oil, just a drizzle. And then we're going to start to seal this up. So we fold it in half, and it's very, very easy. You just fold it in half, and then we're going to make our first fold and crease, and then our next fold and crease. And you do this all the way around until you get to the end. When you get to the end, we're going to pause for a moment, and we're going to add a little bit of white wine inside, and then we're going to put it in the oven. And then at the end, I just trimmed it a little bit, and then I'm going to take it, and then I have my white wine. I'm going to take my white wine, pour it in, and then we're going to finish sealing it. Put it on a baking sheet and put it in the oven. Now we're back to our salmon that's been marinating for an hour. It looks delicious. It's got a great color to it, and we're gonna give it a little bit of a sear in the beginning. The recipe doesn't call for this, but I like to give it a little bit more caramelization sear. So we have a hot pan. We have a little bit of canola oil, or you can use sesame oil. It's entirely up to you. And we're going to make sure that's nice and hot. And then we're going to take our salmon out of the marinade. And we're going to give it a nice sear on high heat. And what's going to happen, the ingredients that are in the marinade, the brown sugar and the soy sauce that have sugar in them are going to caramelize up. And then when you broil in the oven and cook it the rest of the way, it'll get a little bit darker. And we want to sear it for probably about 60 seconds on each side, get a nice caramelization, nice crust on it. See that nice caramelization on the salmon? That's what you're looking for. And it's going to brown up a little bit more as it broils in the oven. And we're going to shut it off. And we're going to move that salmon right to our cedar plate, like that. And we'll finish it off by broiling it in the oven. Here's our final product, salmon. It's come out of the oven. We've served it with some basmati rice, some broccoli, baby carrots, and a little twist of red bell pepper, and some microgreens. I hope you enjoy. And now we're back with the sole. We've just taken it out of the oven, and we're going to use a knife to slit it open. And you can see the steam coming out. And the final presentation is there. I hope you enjoy. A lot of people have asked me what I've done to lose 55 pounds, and it's been eating healthier, exercising, and taking care of myself. That's part of the reason why I wanted to do this presentation of healthier options and also let you know that we have them in the restaurant. I'm very proud of our members who are walking every day, taking care of themselves, and being healthier and trying to eat healthier, and that's why we did this class. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to doing another filming for you next month. Thanks so much.